This is our very first head-to-head here on the channel, and it's Gardevoir and Gallade's pleasure to compete to see who will be fastest to reach the end of the line. So this video is a little bit different for quite a multitude of reasons. It's the first time we're running a head-to-head together here on the channel, but it's also the first time we're doing an end-of-the-line backport. The aim of the End of the Line series is to try and find the fastest Pokémon in Pokémon Crystal, and I thought I would open it up to backported Pokémon as well, just to give some healthy competition to some of those Generation 2 native Pokémon that might be resting on their laurels towards the top of the leaderboard. Now in the live voiceover I will be explaining how the format of this video will work, so for now let's take a look at the stats of our Gardevoir. We're level 5 this time with 23 HP. We are of course holding a berry and our moves are Growl, Confusion, Double Team and Teleport. We've got 13 in attack and defense, 19 in special attack, 18 in special defense and 14 in speed. Let's now hand over to the live run to see exactly how Gardevoir fares. So we're going to be running Gardevoir and Gallade as two separate challenges, but they will be featured in the same video. They're both technically backports, but they're going to be going on the End of the Line leaderboard. I thought for a Pokemon like Gardevoir and a Pokemon like Gallade, the End of the Line's probably more suitable than a main backport run. And with the End of the Line being an alternate leaderboard anyway, I don't think there's going to be many issues at all with including them on the End of the Line leaderboard, especially because I think some of those End of the Line Pokemon could do with some decent competition, you know. Gardevoir is going to be the first one we're running. I'm recording this one first. And for those of you who want to know how this video is going to be structured, we will do all of Johto with Gardevoir, then we will do all of Johto with Gallade, so we'll go straight back to the beginning, so it's going to be ostensibly 2 runs stitched together. Then we'll have a longer Kanto chat, we'll do the blue fight for each of them, then the red fight for each of them, and we'll see who comes out on top. I don't like the idea of doing a versus video, because I think it's probably going to be a foregone conclusion that Gardevoir's going to win. But I think we'll see just how well they do and maybe compare here and there. I'm not going to be directly comparing in the live run sections, however, because I've noticed when I have my comparison splits on, that's when I make the most mistakes. That's why they've been away now for well over a year and a half. Let's take on the first rival battle with Gardevoir. We've one-shot everything so far, and I've given the rival Totodile just because he gets Crunch later on. We are running with a Gen 4 Learn set, however, and that does mean we'll have Mystical Leaf, which will be super effective against the Totodile line, but I don't think we'll need it. Let's see, can we do the loop-de-loop here? We can, and that means we can have a little chat with the police officer. We'll call the rival triple question mark as we always do. We'll have a chat with Elm, and then I think it makes sense to do Sprout Tower today. We do, of course, have Confusion. It's going to be super effective against Bellsprout. It will give us those extra early, quick levels, which we'll very much need because we're in slow, and then we'll take on Falconer. So it's just over 3 minutes into Violet City. We're going to take PP Heal, and we'll ascend the Sprout Tower together. And there's just one more Elder to battle before we get ourselves the Flash HM, that is, of course, Elderly. He's going to have 2 Bellsprouts and a Hoothoot. It's going to be a 2-shot on the Hoothoot unless we crit. Take a teeny tiny bit of damage, nothing to be concerned about though. We'll one-shot the final Bellsprout and we get through Sprout Tower in 5 minutes and 8 seconds. Pick up the escape rope. We'll get out of here. We are going to have to PP heal, I think. Although we will try without PP healing. Although I've got a feeling, you know, that unless we one-shot this Spearow and one-shot the 2 Pidgey, we will have to do a PP heal. We're going to keep trying, because you never know. Stranger things have happened. We will have 5 PP for the Falconer fight. That should be more than enough. So let's take him on. He is, of course, our first gym leader together. A flying type specialist who leads with Pidgey. One shot on the Pidgey. Here comes Pidgeotto. It's going to be a 2-shot on this. Gust deals a little bit of damage. Nothing to be worried about at all. And that's the Zephyr Badge, 5 minutes and 50 seconds, including Sprout Tower. That is not a bad time at all. Let's get out of here, let's have a little call from Elm, and let's start making our way towards Azalea Town. And of course, the first thing we do in Azalea is go into the Ilex Forest, where we're going to grab the HM friends. First up, of course, is Paris. Paris will be helping us out with Dig, Rock Smash, Cut, and Flash. And then we're also going to pick up Psyduck. These are guaranteed encounters, courtesy of the Challenge Run patch. So we pause the timer just because of the inconsistency in finding wild Pokemon. We'll swap those two around, we'll unpause the timer, and we'll go into Slowpoke Well, and then it'll be time for Bugsy. And with that, it's time for our second gym leader. This is Bugsy, the Bug-type specialist who leads with Metapod. Now in the rules, it states that we cannot use Double Team via TM. It says nothing about Double Team as a level up move, so we're going to set up a single Double Team here, just to try and evade the Fury Cutter. Didn't work out anyway, but that's absolutely fine, because we're going to beat up this Kakuna in one shot now. So the double team was a little bit moots there, actually took us a little bit longer than it otherwise would have done, but 10 minutes 17 for Bugsy, including Sprout Tower, is a very, very good time indeed. We're going to take a very quick heal here to save a little bit of time going into Goldenrod City, and now it is time for the rival battle. Muscle memory there, going straight out of the Pokemon Center into Kurtz. That's what we do at the beginning of Azalea Town there. One shot on the Ghastly, it's going to be one shot on the Zubat as well. Don't know why he sent that out second. And then it's probably a 3-shot on the Crocodile. We get our first confusion of the challenge there. We grow to level 18 and we are through the rival. He hates the weak, so I'm assuming he hates himself. And that means we can start heading towards Goldenrod City. There's going to be one item we'll pick up here in the forest. I think we'll pick up Headbutt. Even though we only have 65 in attack, it still could be useful here and there if we need a flinch. So I think Headbutt is a move we'll be teaching, but we're going to be mostly focusing on our special attacks because we're getting Calm Mind very, very soon. So there is Headbutt, courtesy of the green-haired man staring at the tree. We'll teach it now that our Repel has worn off. Goodness knows how long it'll be on the learn set. Probably not that long at all. We will get rid of Growl for now, I think. We'll stick on another Repel, and then we're going to pick up Abra. Because even though we have Teleports now, we're not going to be keeping hold of Teleport for very long. Because we are going to be teaching the punches in Goldenrod City. So we'll pause the timer, and we will get ourselves Abra. Much like the HM friends in the Ilex Forest, this is a guaranteed encounter. It's also going to be a guaranteed catch. So just one Pokeball is all we need, and that gives us our Abra. And now that we're in Goldenrod, of course, the first thing we'll do is pick up the bike. This will let us move double quick speed around the map. We will register it straight away. We'll get Kenya, and then I think we're going to need to do a little bit of leveling. Mostly to get the money, honestly, from these trainers. Because we want to pick up a couple of punches, and the punches aren't that cheap for the early game. So we'll take on Picnic Kim, we'll critical hit her, that's very, very nice to see. I think we'll take on Mr. Sandshrew and... I've forgotten his second Pokemon, is it a Diglett? A Marill, goodness sakes. That Marill did next to nothing there. The only thing we need from National Park this time is the Dig TM, so we'll pick that up and teach that to Paris a little bit later on. And now we will start thinking about heading back towards Goldenrod City. I think we're going to test our physical attack against this Abra line. I actually see a lot of parallels between the Abra line and the Ralts line here. Oh, that isn't good. We didn't one-shot Kadabra. That's slightly concerning. So I think that means we've got to pivot to our special attacks a little bit sooner than anticipated. So that means it's a trip to the top floor of the Goldenrod department store. We'll pick up an Ice Punch. We will pick up a Fire Punch, and I don't think we'll be using it, but we'll pick up a Thunder Punch as well. The only Pokemon I can think of that Thunder Punch would be useful for, we will have something else to use as well. So in fact, why don't we teach the Ice Punch and the Fire Punch straight away? So Ice Punch is going to go in place of that move, I think it was Double Team, and then Thunder Punch in place of Teleport. Now I'm going to take on a couple more trainers. I've messed up there. I meant to teach Fire Punch instead of Thunder Punch. So we'll use Thunder Punch against the Slowpoke line, and then we'll teach Fire Punch in its place. I didn't want to feel like we'd wasted the Thunder Punch TM, so I taught Fire Punch in place of Headbutt in the end. Now it is time for Whitney. She is, of course, our third gym leader together. She's a normal-type specialist who led with Clefairy. I think we're going to Thunder Punch the Miltank turn 1. I don't think there's going to be any issues at all, though. Speed tie in the end for that Miltank, actually. We get Magical Leaf, which we'll say no to. And that is our third gym badge. Whitney's badge in a time of 16 minutes and 54 seconds. And you know what? I think we're capable of doing quick air critique. That means what we will do is we will grab the Squirts bottle from the eavesdropping so-and-so in here. We will then go all the way back to the Pokemon Center in Goldenrod, and then we're going to skip Ecritique's Pokemon Center entirely. And of course, the first thing we do in Ecritique City is take on the Kimono Girls. Can't see them being too much of an issue today, although we could get a little bit screwed over by our lowish special attack output against the Flareon there. Our special attack is going to get very, very buffed soon anyway, courtesy of Calm Mind that's coming in just 2 levels' time. Not sure what move I'm going to get rid of in place of Calm Mind, honestly. Umbreon could be slightly problematic. Pursuit deals a little bit of damage, but if that's the worst we have to fare against the Komodo Girls, then we're not in a bad position whatsoever. We have Thunder Punch for this Vaporeon, still probably going to be a 2-shot. We grow to level 24. I don't think we're getting 25 off the Kimono Girls, which means we might have Thunder Punch for the Croconaw at the next rival battle. Tail Whip's absolutely fine there. No issues whatsoever. We get ourselves the Surf HM, and that means we can go into the Burnt Tower and take on the rival for a 3rd time, making very, very good progress here. And I think it's only going to start speeding up once we get Calm Mind. Let's heal up that little bit of damage that we took. Let's use the Repel, and let's take on Rival 3 in battle. This time he's going to lead with Haunter. That's perfect for us because we've got Confusion ourselves to begin with. That's going to be a 1-shot. We don't grow to level 25. Here comes the Croconaw. Is Thunder Punch a 1-shot? No, it isn't. That's the reason why he has Croconaw, by the way, just because of Bite. We'll say goodbye to Thunder Punch now. We'll use Fire Punch against the Magnemite, and then we will use an Ice Punch against the Zubat. Very, very simple Rival 3 there, in a time of under 20 minutes. Let's fall through the floor, release the beasts, and take on Morty. So Morty is our 4th gym leader together. He is, of course, a dual Ghost and Poison type specialist who's going to lead with Ghastly. We're going to use a single Calm Mind as that Ghastly swears at us. I've misclicked there. That could be a little bit tragic, but it does just mean we're going to guarantee the 1-shots now on everything else. So that could be a blessing in disguise, because it does mean we are perfectly safe for the rest of this battle. We grow to level 28 and we obtain the Fog Badge in 21 minutes and 57 seconds. Up next is a trip up the lighthouse. And the only thing we need to do in the lighthouse is have a little chat with Jazz. We'll pick up the rare candy and then it'll be time to sail across the open seas to Cianwood City, where we're going to take on our next gym leader. We get a call from the bike shop. Very weird place for that bike shop call. So let's sail across the seas and take on Chuck. And this is Chuck. Chuck is our 5th gym leader together, a fighting type specialist who leads with Primeape. Now, it would have been lovely to have had 1 extra level for this battle. It would have made it a lot more consistent because, of course, we get Psychic at level 31. Doesn't matter in the end, though. A single Calm Mind is all we need to earn ourselves Psychic and, of course, the Storm Badge in a time of 26 minutes and 12 seconds. Let's have a little chat with Chuck's wife now, and then we'll do a bit of housekeeping and take on Jasmine. So let's see how we fare now against Jasmine. She is, of course, our 6th gym leader. She's a Steel-type specialist who leads with Magnemite. Fire Punch is going to 1-shot all 3 of these Magnemite. Thank goodness we don't have the physical special split in. And then it's probably going to be a 2-shot on the Steelix. We burn it. We win. She can't do anything. There's literally nothing Jasmine can do now. We grow to level 32 and we say thank you, Jasmine, for a very easy battle. Mineral Badge in 28:38. And now at the Lake of Rage, the only thing we need to pick up today is the rare candy. We'll then fly to the fly point in the Lake of Rage, because it used to be a town in a former life, I believe, in the Johto games. And we'll take on the red Gyarados. I think we should be absolutely fine here just using Psychic. He goes for Leah. That's perfect for us. We get the red scale, and of course we get another encounter. Technically, it's quicker on average to just skip the Repel there, because you're not likely to get 2 encounters. But it's always the way, isn't it? When you don't Repel, you get the encounters. Let's go back to Mahogany now. I'm going to skip the Rockets, and we'll meet up for Price. As you would expect, nothing at all happened in the Rocket hideout. So that means we're on to Price. Price is our 7th gym leader together. He is, of course, an Ice-type specialist who leads with Seal. Seal goes down in 1. Dugong is next. It's probably going to be a 2-shot against the Dugong. We've got Oodles, the special defense, so Aurora Beam barely tickles us. Let's use Ice Punch first of all, because I'm not sure on the one-shot. With the Pile of Swine, we'll grow to level 35, and that is Price defeated in 34 minutes and 6 seconds. That means it's time for the dreaded phone call from Professor Elm. He's telling us that the Rockets have taken over Goldenrod City. We're not going to deal with that, instead we're going to go straight to Rival 4. And with half of the radio tower done, it's time for Rival 4. This time he's going to lead with Golbat, and we've got Ice Punch, it's going to be a one-shot. We knock it out, so he sends out Sneasel next. We've got Fire Punch to deal with that, so nothing too problematic. We grow to level 38. We're going to use Psychic against the Feraligatr. He's probably going to go for Bite. It's going to do next to nothing. We'll use Psychic against the Magnemite because it's going to be a one-shot regardless. We'll Psychic the Haunter, and that is Rival 4 all complete. We've got more Rockets to deal with, but we'll meet back up for the Claire battle. And this is Claire. Claire is our final Jotonian gym leader. She is, of course, a Dragon-type specialist who leads with Dragonair. We're going to one-shot all three of the Dragonair, so really the big focus of this battle is going to be the Kingdra. Kingdra can paralyse us with Dragon Breath, and it's not looking like a one-shot, I don't think. Hyper Beam, that's absolutely fine. We'll finish it off with Psychic. That's Claire defeated. Let's rush to the Dragon's Den now to get our final Jotonian badge. And with the questionnaire all answered, we get our Claire back on screen, and that's going to get us our last Johto badge. That's the Rising badge in a time of 47 minutes and 7 seconds. Always happy with sub 1 hour Claire, definitely even happier with sub 50-minute Claire. Let's start heading towards the Pokemon League. I'm a little bit annoyed at myself. I hit a couple of optionals on the way to the league, but we'll grab the HP up. And now it's time for the final rival battle. This time, of course, he's going to lead with Sneasel. We've got Fire Punch for the Sneasel, so that's going to knock it out in one. And he sends out Golbat next. We'll use Thunder Punch against the Golbat because I don't think we'll need to use our Psychic. We'll go back to Fire Punch for the Magneton. We'll grow to level 46. And here comes Haunter. We'll Psychic the Haunter. Makes no sense not to. Kadabra's up next. We will use a Thunder Punch against the Kadabra. It's probably going to be much of a muchness. Future Sight's meaningless there. The last Pokemon is for Alligator. Let's use the Thunder Punch, see how we get on. We crit, and we are through the rival. And with that, we're at the Pokemon League, so we will say thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck, and merci to Paris. You've all been a great help in the Johto region. Get yourselves some well-deserved rest. We'll get our full restores, and then we'll save and look at our stats for the league. And this time we're shaping up like this. Level 46 with 145 HP, holding the Scamulet coin with Psychic, Fire Punch, Calm Mind, and Thunder Punch. 95 in attack, 93 in defense, 154 in special attack, 145 in special defense, and 106 in speed. Those, of course, are the out-of-battle stats. We'll get a big buff in battle, as we'll see now, against Will. He's our first league member. He is a Psychic-type specialist, much like us. He led with Xatu that's already gone down. The second Xatu comes out to play and it goes down in exactly the same way. So here comes Jinx. We've only really got Fire Punch for Jinx. She Ice Punches us back, doesn't freeze us. We grow to 47. We will Fire Punch the Executor, and then we will Thunder Punch the final Slowbro. Probably going to be 2 Thunder Punches for this. Amnesia's absolutely fine, and that is Will defeated. Time of 51 minutes and 18 seconds. Let's move on to Koga. Koga is a Psychic-type specialist, and poor Koga. Gonna have a bad time here, I think. We'll one-shot his Ariados for beginning. Then we will swap to Fire Punch for the Fortress. We'll take that down in one. And then it's just going to be Psychics to finish off this battle. We say goodbye to Muck. We say goodbye to Venomoth. And then we will also say goodbye to Crobat. No, we won't, because he is double teaming away. Goodness me. You are an absolute shambles, Koga. I swear, if we get Toxic Stall because of double team, that is gonna be ridiculous. Right, okay. Let's take a reset. I'm not happy about that. We'll one-shot the Ariados. And then we're going to set up a Calm Mind against the Fortress. Then we'll Fire Punch the Fortress. And then we shall use a Thunder Punch against this horrible Crobat. We're poisoned, but that's absolutely fine. We'll Psychic the Venom off, different order this time as well, you'll notice. And finally, Muck, we will use the Psychic and we say goodbye to Koga. And honestly, we raise a middle finger at him as well, goodness me. Let's use our PlayStation Network Cure Berry and a Super Potion there. And let's take on Bruno. Bruno, I don't want any of your nonsense. Let's just get 6 simple one-shots. Hitmontop, it's gone. Onyx, no special defense, it's out of here. Here comes Hitmonlee, there goes Hitmonlee. Let's try with a Machamp. What have you got for us? Absolutely nothing. Let's see what Hitmonchan does. A Muck Punch? We don't care. Goodbye, Koga. Not Koga, Bruno, goodness me. In a time of 53-17. So let's now take on Karen. Karen is our final league member. She is, of course, going to lead with Umbreon. We'll set up a couple of Calm Minds against the Umbreon. She's double Sand attacked us, though. That is not good. Let's take a reset. Double Sand attack is not what we were after. We're holding them Bitter Berry just in case she goes for Confuse Ray. Don't double Sand attack again. One Sand attack we can probably deal with. Let's use Fire Punch now. We burnt the Umbreon. There is the Confuse Ray, but of course, Sand attack makes us miss. Let's do another reset. This is probably going to be the trickiest battle for Gardevoir in all of the challenge, honestly. Feint Attack is brilliant turn 1, and then Confuse Ray is perfect turn 2. I've just got to hope... No, there's another bloody Sand attack. Karen, you're not being very nice to us today. We'll Fire Punch her Murkrow. Then out comes Houndoom. We should survive quite easily a crunch here. Yeah, look at that. Even with a Spadef drop, we're going to be absolutely fine. 2 more Thunder Punches knocks it out. Gengar's next. Destiny Bond would hurt, but we knock it out in 1. Vileplume's going to be a one-shot with Psychic as well. And that is Karen all defeated. Let's now set up for Lance. So we're going to say goodbye at this point to Fire Punch. We'll use a full restore just because we might as well. And I tell you what, because I want that extra money, I'm going to get the Scamulet coin back on. Let's take on Lance, not seeing any issues at all here. We've got Thunder Punch for his birds. We've got Ice Punch for his dragons. And yes, Gyarados is counted as a bird here. That goes down in one shot. Here comes Dragonite number 1. We'll use Ice Punch. It's going to one-shot because we've got an in-battle 189 special attack. It's going to do the same against Dragonite number 2. And that brings us on to Aerodactyl. We might as well use another Ice Punch here, actually. We've got the Ice-type badge boost. Hyper Beam barely tickles us. It's probably going to be a 2-shot against this Charizard. But we paralysed it, and Flamethrower does next to nothing. We grow to 51. The last Dragonite comes out to play. We'll use an Ice Punch, we'll knock it out in 1, and that is Lance defeated in a time of 56 minutes and 5 seconds. I'm so used to saying 1 hour there. We got sub 1 hour league. Let's see what our final Hall of Fame time is for the Gardevoir end of the line challenge. And our final Hall of Fame time is 56 minutes and 19 seconds. That is only half of the story. You've got to wait for the second half of the story though. So don't you dare go anywhere, because Gallade is next. And we're rejoining the action here in Elm's lab, where it's time to get on with our second challenge of this video. Gardevoir has set the standard for Gallade to follow, so we're going to get our Gallade from Professor Elm, and then we'll take a look at the stats of our starter Gallade this time. We are level 5 with 22 HP. We are holding the berry, and our 4 moves once again are Leer, Confusion, Double Team and Teleport. We've got 18 in attack, 12 in defense, 13 in special attack, 18 in special defense and 14 in speed. So now let's get back to the live run. Full disclosure, I have already completed the Gardevoir challenge. I know the time that Gardevoir has, but unfortunately you're going to have to wait just a little while to find out. Now I think Gallade is going to have a fairly tricky beginning to the challenge actually. Especially compared to Gardevoir, because we don't have the best special attack in the world. We've only got 65 in special attack, as opposed to that 125 that we had for Gardevoir. However, I think the later game might actually be a little bit easier for Gallade. I've gone for a hidden power type this time. I've chosen Rock for our hidden power type. I think that's going to be the most suitable for some of the key trainers. We'll have to see whether that comes into play. But for now, we're going to have a little chat with Mr. Pokemon. We'll grab the mystery egg, we'll get our free heal, and then we'll do something that we didn't actually do in the Gardevoir challenge. Because we have teleport, that means that we can skip right back to Cherry Grove City outside of Mr. Pokemon's house instead of having to walk through the grass. So if we do this, we're in Cherry Grove, and it's time for Rival 1. There are very few Pokemon you can do this with. It's something that I meant to show off in the Gardevoir challenge, but it just didn't come into my mind. I was too in the rhythm. We get through Rival 1 with 3 shots. That isn't ever going to be a tricky battle when you're fully evolved. And we can make our way back to the lab. I think it's going to be the same strat, you know, of taking on Sprout Tower to begin with, because we are fully evolved. Even with just 65 in special attack, we should be one-shotting those Bellsprout. And that will give us some extra damage output for the first gym. So we're going to start heading towards Violet City, where we'll take on the Sprout Tower. And here we are once again at Elderly. Should be a fairly simple battle. Even with our relatively low special attack, we one-shot the Bellsprout. It's going to be a 3-shot on the Hootoots. We'll grow to level 11, and then it will be a 1-shot on the other Bellsprout. The gym, however, could be fairly tricky. We're going to be weak, of course, to the flying type. We'll escape Rope out of there, and we'll hope that having a little bit of bulk, because we are, of course, fully evolved, will be just the trick we need to get through Falkner's gym. Title card came in a little bit early there, didn't it? Let's see how we get on against the Spearow. Peck does a little bit, not as much as I was expecting it to do. And then, of course, we're not going to have any flying type moves against this second Bird Keeper. So this should be a fairly trivial affair. It's 2 shots on both the Pidgey. Both tackles missed, goodness me. And we can take on Falkner. We're still holding our first berry, so let's see how we get on. I am going to cheese this ever so slightly and set up a double team against the Pidgey, because that Pidgey doesn't have any flying type moves. It's just a little bit of insurance. We saw with Gallade, with Gardevoir rather, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Yet again, double team proving to be a little bit of baits there really. Just over 6 minutes for our first badge with Gallade. Let's now have a little chat with Professor Elm. We'll grab the Togepi egg and box it forever, and then it'll be time to go towards Azalea Town. Now I do just want to say at this point, this is actually my 4th run of the day, so I wanted to get Gardevoir and Gallade recorded in the same session, because you kind of play the same way in the same session. So if I am a little bit hoarse, that's why. 3 of the runs have been with live voiceovers, including this one, so I could be overstraining ever so slightly, but I think it's worth it for Gallade. Now, unlike Gardevoir, where we loaded ourselves up on the punches, we're going to be loading ourselves up on physical moves instead here with Gallade. So we're going to teach Swift and Mudslap now, and then we'll go into the forest to catch our HM friends. And we are pausing the timer at 9 minutes and 1 second to catch the HM friends. First up, of course, is Paris. Paris will be helping us out with Cut, Flash, Dig, and Rock Smash. And second up is Psyduck. Psyduck will be helping us out with Surf, Strength, Whirlpool, and Waterfall. And with those safely caught for another challenge, we're going to head into the Slowpoke well, but we'll reconvene for Bugsy. And with that, it is time for our second gym leader. This is Bugsy, the Bug-type specialist who leads with Metapod. Unlike with the Gardevoir challenge, I beg your pardon, we're just going to go straight into attacking here. I think we should survive a Fury Cutter just about. We don't. I think we might have to do a double team after all of that. Goodness me, what a nasty reset to have. Let's use Confusion against this Metapod, knock it out in 2, and then we're back onto the Scyther. Swift is going to be our best move here against Scyther. He goes for Quick Attack and he crits after a defense drop. We get the high roll this time. I think we're all in the clear now. We get through Kakuna, and that is Bugsy done in 11:38. Thank goodness Bugsy is a very quick reset. We're going to have to take a heal though after this particular gym battle, and then we'll take on rival number 2. The difference here is we're going to be overloading with physical moves compared to Gardevoir. Gardevoir would actually have a similar challenge to Gallade if it wasn't for the physical special split not being in Generation 2. so Gallade would actually get all of those punching moves and be able to use them very, very well. As it stands though, we're going to have to make do with what we can get in Gen 2, and the first move of those is going to be Headbutt in the forest. So we get Headbutt from the green-haired man staring at the tree. As soon as the repel wears off, we are going to be teaching it Quick, Sharp, and In a Hurry. Going to teach it in place of Double Team. I think having 2 strong normal type moves at the moment is going to be our best play. We'll use another repel, we'll grab the pair of ethers here in the forest, and then it will be time to get ourselves Abra. Abra's got one job, it's going to be a very important job though. It's going to be teleporting us back to our Pokemon centers, and goodness me, what a pleasure it is working with Abra every single time, especially with the guaranteed catch from the Challenge Run patch. So now we've got the Abra, we will unpause the timer and make our way into Goldenrod City, and then we'll pick up Kenya. With Kenya, the HM friends are complete for another challenge, and that means we can start thinking about going into National Park. I do want to take on these Magmar first, the Bumhead Fireducks, because they will give me a good idea of just how good our attack is. One-shotting the first one is good, ranging the second one isn't so great. We are going to pick up the Quick Claw this time though, and that's going to be one of the things in this challenge. We're going to have to pick up a few extra items. Quick Critique is not going to be on the table, I think, for this one either, because we're going to be playing for level 25. Level 25 is when we get Swords Dance. That is when the challenge will really, really open up. We're going to get that double boost to our physical attack, and that is going to be incredibly handy. For now though, we've got a little bit more grinding before we take on Whitney. And with that, it's time to take on Whitney. She is of course our third gym leader together. She's a normal type specialist who leads with Clefairy. We crit the Clefairy and we're onto the Miltank. She's locked herself into rollout. She does get a very jammy critical hit, but we critical hit her back, and we defeat Whitney to obtain the Plane Badge in a time of 16 minutes and 45 seconds. Now, like I mentioned, we're not going to be doing Quick Critique on this particular challenge, mostly because I want to go and grab Hidden Power from the Lake of Rage. Forgot where it was for a second there, goodness me. So that does mean we're going to have our teleport spot at the lighthouse. At the lighthouse at Ecruteak City, goodness me, you can tell that it's currently 5 to 6 and I've not been to sleep yet. So I'll get myself over to Ecruteak City, I'll engage my brain while I'm on the way there, and then it'll be time to take on the Kimono Girls. I decided to do the Kimono Girls now to give me a rough idea of where our attack is compared to where we want it to be. The answer is slightly lower than I'd like it to be. You can see we actually get a Dawnstone in this particular backport patch, as well as the Surf HM. That is in case you're playing with the Ralts line and you want to evolve into a Gallade. You will need a male Ralts for that, don't forget, because it does follow the same rules as you would expect in any other generation where you can get Gallade. So that is why we get the Dawnstone there. You can also pick one up after the Rockets in the Mahogany shop. They are the 2 places where you can get the Dawnstone in this patch. Now, if you do want to play this patch, you can download it from the website trainersquidgy.com. That's where you can find all of the backports that we run together here on the channel. As soon as they are out with a video, you can play them for yourselves. All you need is a clean copy of Pokémon Crystal and a patching tool. And it's against this Nidoking that we actually learn Swords Dance. That is going to be one of our best moves. It's going to up our attack by 2 every time we use it, and that is going to be game changing. Level 25 was what we were playing for. We have now achieved it. We are going to get Hidden Power from the Lake of Rage as well. So we'll grab the rare candy, we'll grab this elixir that we didn't actually get in the last challenge, and it did screw me over slightly in the radio tower. I'm so used to having that extra elixir. And then we will also get Hidden Power. I've chosen Hidden Power Rock today. That's my go-to for any really hard-hitting, physical attacking Pokemon that can learn Fire Punch. Hidden Power Rock is my go-to there. So we are going to teach Fire Punch, actually, talking a bit right now to our Gallade. We're also going to teach a couple of moves to our Paras, and then it'll be time for Rival 3. And it's into the Burnt Town we go for the 3rd of 5 rival battles. I'm not seeing this one going to be any issue at all, really. We'll use Confusion against the Haunter, we'll knock it out in 1. We will then use Confusion against the Zubat and knock it out in one as well. Then we will headbutt the Croconaw. We flinch it, we knock it out in 2 hits. And then we've got Fire Punch for the Magnemite. We're going to be holding on to Fire Punch for quite some time in this challenge. We will eventually replace it with Earthquake, but for now we'll fall through the floor, and now it's time to take on Morty. Now it might seem a little bit counterintuitive to have gotten rid of Confusion, which is super effective against the Ghastly line, but I think this is going to be our best way to get through Morty, because we're going to be able to one-shot the Ghastly and the Haunter. Here comes the Gengar. Hidden Power is a comfortable one-shot as we grow to level 28. We'll one-shot the last Haunter, and we get through Morty in a time of 24 minutes and 4 seconds. We get Shadow Ball, which we can learn, which could come in handy later on. For now, let's start heading towards Olivine City. We're going to pick up Strength from the cafe here in Olivine City. You know what, I think we're going to YOLO this. We are going to teach Strength in place of Headbutt. Strength's going to give us an extra little boost to our base power, and I think we're going to need that more than we're going to need to be able to flinch any of our opponents. So let's now start ascending the lighthouse. And at the tippy top of the lighthouse, the only thing we need to do is have a little chat with Jazz. We'll fall through the floor to grab our rare candy, and then we can start sailing across the open seas towards Cianwood City. We'll grab the secret potion from the dodgy man in the dodgy shop, and now it's time for our 5th gym leader. So this is Chuck. Chuck is our 5th gym leader together. He's of course a fighting type specialist who leads with Primeape. We're going to set up a swords dance against the Primeape. We might as well set up 2, and then we'll get to strengthening. It's one shot on the Primeape. We're going to outspeed the Poliwrath. We knock it out in one shot as well. That's Chuck done in 28 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll get Dynamic Punch. We may or may not see that later on in the challenge. Just before we take on the next gym, we are going to take on the Red Gyarados first. Might as well do it while we've got the Repel Steps. We're going to use a couple of Hidden Powers and it's going to go down. Thrash is barely going to touch us. We grow to level 32. And it's up to the top of the lighthouse we go. We'll give the secret potion to Jasmine. She will, of course, pretend to give it to Amphi, so we're going to have to get in hot pursuits behind her so that we can go into her gym. Jasmine is our 6th gym leader together. She is a Steel-type specialist. She's going to lead with Magnemite. We really are relying on Fire Punch here, doing enough against the Magnemite and the Steelix. That really is the only play. We don't have the best special attack in the world, but as long as we can do roughly half, we should be absolutely fine. No problems at all. We've won this. Even a double Iron Tail hit now would do absolutely nothing for us. We get through Jasmine in a time of 31 minutes and 23 seconds. Let's now move on to Price. And we don't get Border Douglas today. That means it's straight on to Price himself. He is, of course, our 7th gym leader together. He is an Ice-type specialist who leads with Seal. We're going to set up just a couple of swords dances against the Seal, and then we'll get to sweeping. It's a one-shot on Seal, it's a one-shot on Dugong, out comes the Piloswine, and guess what? It's a one-shot on that as well. That was a very simple battle, 35-32 for the Glacier badge. That means we get the dreaded phone call from Professor Elm. We're going to ignore it for now though and start heading towards Blackthorn City. And now that we're through the ice path, we're going to fly to the main part of Blackthorn City. We'll get our 12 max repels here, and then we're going to go to the move deleter because we're going to teach Return as soon as we're back in Goldenrod. So it's going to be goodbye to Strength. Served its purpose, that's for sure, but it has reached the end of the line for its usefulness. We'll grab the elixir, we will then try and dodge this spinner, and then we'll make our way in to Goldenrod. And it's on the top floor of the department store. We're going to get ourselves Return, and of course, we're going to teach it straight away. Return's going to be our best move, I think, going forwards. Now I've got to beat up a bunch of rockets, so we'll meet back up for Rival 4. So let's now take on the 4th rival battle. I can't see this one being problematic at all. He's going to lead with Golbat. We've got Hidden Power, it's going to be a one-shot. We'll grow to level 38, and out comes Haunter. I'm going to use a Swords Dance here. I was kind of expecting him... I misclicked there. I was kind of expecting him to use Curse, but we've got a double sword stance. That means the rest of the battle is going to be trivial. Nothing's going to stand in our way. Sneasel's going to go down in one shot as well. The last Pokemon is going to be Magnemite. We'll flex by using Return against the Magnemite, even though we could have used Fire Punch there, and we get through in 41 minutes and 25 seconds. Let's now carry on to Blackthorn City, where Claire's waiting for us. And with that, let's take on Claire. She is our final Jotonian gym leader. She is, of course, a Dragon-type specialist who leads with 3 Dragonair. We are able to one-shot the Dragonair courtesy of the pink bow. Not quite as good as I was hoping for at this particular juncture, but that's absolutely fine. We will use a pair of Return against the Kingdra. We've got high special defense, so Surf does next to nothing. We defeat Claire. Let's now run into the Dragon's Den to get our final Jotonian badge. And after answering 11212, Claire comes onto the screen, and we're going to get our final Jotonian badge in a time of 48 minutes and 20 seconds. Let's now start heading towards the Pokemon League. And now that we're in Victory Road, there are a couple of things we need to pick up. The first being the HP up here, the second being the Earthquake TM. We're not going to teach it straight away though. We're going to rock Fire Punch for just a couple more battles. For now though, it's time to take on rival number 5, and this time he's going to lead with Sneasel. That's great for us. It means we can set up a Swords Dance, and then we can get to sweeping. It's one shot on Sneasel. Up next is Golbat. We'll use Return and it takes it out in 1. Third up is Haunter. Hidden Power takes care of Haunter. Kadabra's going to be a one shot with Return. We grow to level 46, and here comes for Alligator. We're able to comfortably one shot for Alligator with a Return as well. We'll use our Fire Punch against the Magneton, guarantee the one hit, and we are through the rival for one last time in 51-38. With that, we're at the Pokemon League. So we're going to say thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck, and merci to Paris. We'll pick up our 4 full restores. We'll either need them or we won't. And then we're going to take a quick look at our stats going in to the league. And this time we're shaping up like this. Level 46 with 141 HP. Holding the Quick Claw with Return, Hidden Power Rock, Swords Dance, and Fire Punch. 152 in attack, 92 in defense, 93 in special attack, 139 in special defense, and 111 in speed. Those, of course, are the out-of-battle stats. We'll get a big buff in battle, as we'll see now against Will. He's our first league member, a Psychic-type specialist who leads with Xatu. Hidden Power Rock's enough to take care of Xatu, so he sends out another one, and exactly the same happens. That brings us on to Jinx. We've got our choice of moves for Jinx. She goes down in one single hit. Here comes Executor. We're going to set up a Swords Dance against Executor as we get Leech Seeded. We grow to level 47, and the last Pokemon is Slowbro. If we're lucky, we one-shot. We don't one-shot though, but it is just 2 hits to finish off Will in 52-36. Our second league member is Koga. Koga is a Poison-type specialist who's going to lead with Ariados. We're going to risk it here and set up a single Swords Dance against the Ariados. Then we'll throw some Hidden Power Rocks its way. We'll do the same against the Venomoth as well, and we knock them both out in one hit. Fire Punch, we held on to you for the Fortress. That's going to be the last time we'll see Fire Punch in the challenge. Crobat doesn't Toxic us, unlike with Gardevoir. And now we can use Return against the Muck. Very, very clean Koga battle in 53-13. Got a little bit of setup now to do for Bruno. First thing is going to be teaching Earthquake in place of Fire Punch. Fire Punch has served its purpose here. We are also going to use a full restore, get ourselves back up to full health, and we'll take Koga on. This is, of course, our third league member. He's a fighting type specialist who leads with him on top. We're going to use the Swords Dance, and then we'll Earthquake it to make sure it goes down in 1, and then we'll Return against the Hitmonlee. That goes down in a single hit as well. We've got Earthquake for the Onix, that goes down in one shot. We have a Hitmonchan doing a little bit of damage to us with a Mach Punch, and then we've got Machamp. Nice easy one shot to finish off. That's Bruno done in 54-01. Let's see how Karen goes. I want to set up against the Umbreon and then try and sweep, I think. Let's give it a go. Worst that can happen is we get Sand Attacked. That didn't happen. So we'll one-shot Umbreon, grow to 49, say Nose Protect, and then we'll use Earthquake against the Gengar. That goes down in a single hit, and we've got Murkrow next. Murkrow can't withstand even a return, let alone a super effective move. Vileplume can't either, and that brings us on to Houndoom. No sense in using a super effective move if you can use one that's going to knock it out in one regardless, and that is Karen defeated. That brings us on to Lance. He is of course the liar with the Flyers, and he's going to lead with Gyarados. Let's set up, and then let's sweep. Hyper Beam does a little bit of damage, not enough for me to be concerned whatsoever. We grow to 50 and here comes Aerodactyl. Wing Attack hurts, but that should be the only Pokemon that outspeeds us. I say that, and thank goodness that's true. Charizard goes down in one. We now have the 3 Dragonites to contend with. Dragonite number 1 goes down in a single hidden power, as does Dragonite number 2. I'm not worried at all. We outspeed the 3rd Dragonite, we grow to 51, and we just about scrape through. 55-41 for our Lance split. Goodness me, I was a little bit overconfident there, and that could have gone all kinds of wrong, couldn't it? Let's get our final league time for our Gallade, and this time it's going to be 55-56. We are now going to skip ahead to the Kanto chat for both of these challenges. It's going to be a long extended one, so don't you dare go anywhere because Kanto is next. So now let's rejoin the action here in Goldenrod City, where Gardevoir is going to be learning Thunderbolt. Much like in the Floatzel challenge we saw in the last video, we have the option to upgrade one of our punches to the signature move of that type, so it definitely makes sense to be upgrading our Thunder Punch to a Thunderbolt in this particular challenge. And with Thunderbolt safely learned on the learn set, we're going to teleport all the way over to Vermilion City, where the first thing we do in Kanto is the last thing we do in Johto. We're going to get another rare candy, this time from the chairman of the Pokemon Fan Club. And with that safely tucked away in our bag for another challenge, I am more than pleased to announce that both Gardevoir and Gallade are capable of taking on our standard Cantonian routing, and we're going to be doubling up and flick-flacking between the pair of them this time. So we're going to be starting off here at Lieutenant Surge with the both of them, then both will travel over to Celadon City for Sabrina, we'll take a double trip down Cycling Road to Janine in Fuchsia City, then it's over to Sabrina for a double Psychic header there, up to Cerulean City for a double Misty, across to Pewter City for a double Brock, down to the Seafoam Islands for Blaine Blaine, and then we'll be finishing off twice with Blue. And talking of the Blue fight, if you do want to skip ahead back to the live commentary for this particular challenge, we are going to be rejoining Blue for Gardevoir at around about 52 minutes and 47 seconds. For everybody else, let's sit back, relax, and have our non-standard, because it's double length, Cantonian chat. And in this one, I want to talk about the inspiration for this format, what we'll be doing with it going forwards, and we'll just see how we're enjoying having the double-headed runs here on the channel. So, the big reason I'm doing a double-headed format is because I think both Gardevoir and Gallade definitely deserved an end-of-the-line challenge. However, both of them together I don't think would have made very interesting individual videos. So putting them together in one big video where we can kind of pit each other against each other really does add a little bit more tension and drama to what otherwise would have been two very, very good runs. And it was actually because I was backporting a lot of Generation 3 Pokemon that the inspiration struck. I've kind of set myself a goal to backport every single Generation 3 Pokemon by the end of the year, and doing the Gardevoir line, I decided to add Gallade into the same backport just to try and save a little bit of space, and I thought it'd be a little bit unfair to the Gardevoir line if we didn't have Gallade in the same particular patch. So I thought, why not run them back to back in one big video? And with the 3rd anniversary of the channel coming up in just about 3 months' time, I do want to try and get some Gen 3 inspiration here on the channel as well. I'm not a big fan of playing Generation 3, I've tried my hardest, but I really don't like the engine in either Emerald or Fire Red, so I think why not bring some of the inspiration of Generation 3 together here into our Pokémon Crystal videos instead. So I think if this one goes down well, because it is experimental, then we will be running more of these double headers, and Generation 3 introduces a lot of pairs of Pokemon. We've got Plusle and Minun, who are probably going to be a very similar run. I think that one's definitely going to be a foregone conclusion though. One of those is going to be much stronger than the other. We've got Dustox and of course Beautifly, both of those have been backported already. We've got Zangoose and Seviper. It would be another chance for me to play Zangoose, and honestly I will always look for an excuse to play Zangoose. It's the best Pokemon we have played together here on the channel to date, apart from of course Kyogre, but that doesn't count because it's legendary. And then we can also look at doing some of the more obscure pairings. I'm thinking things like Glameow and Skuntank. Cloyster and Starmie could be a very fun double-headed end-of-the-line video as well. And we can also even look at doing some of the trios. There's one trio that I just cannot get out of my head at the moment, and that is the Elemental Monkeys. I know they are something that a lot of people do not like, but I really want to run them in Pokémon Crystal. I've got to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of them, but you know sometimes you get an idea in your head and it just will not leave. So that's something I might do as a stream to indulge myself at some point in the near future. And quite often during these Cantonian chats, I do love spitballing ideas. You people who are listening to, especially this extended Cantonian chat, you're the ones whose opinions really matter to me, because you're the ones that are definitely invested in what we do together here on the channel. So if you do have any ideas, let me know in the comments down below, especially for more pairings. And now for the second part of this chat, I want to talk a little bit about my decisions on how to structure this video. Part of the reason why I've never done a versus or a double-headed video before is because I've always been a little bit confused as to how I want to structure the video, and doing the live voiceovers has definitely helped, because beforehand I would not be able to stay in one rhythm, but by doing the voiceovers as we're doing the runs, I am in the mindset of just the Gardevoir run or just the Gallade run, so my commentary is reflective of that run without having any interference from the other run going on at the same time. That does unfortunately mean that every single Pokemon who goes first in one of these double headers is going to be at a slight disadvantage. It always stands to reason that the longer you play throughout the course of a play session, the better you get until the fatigue definitely hits you. But I wasn't that fatigued during the Gallade run, so I had all of the bits that I picked up from the Gardevoir run still fresh in my head, and that did contribute to Gallade's quicker league time, that is for sure. However, to make it fair, before I start the doubleheader, I do just randomly select one of the two Pokemon to run first. In this instance, Gardevoir was going to be first in the video anyway, and it turned out to be the first run I was recording, but you never know, in the next one of these, it might be that the second run that you get shown is the first that I actually record. And then as for the actual cuts between the different runs, I really don't like bouncing between one run and another run in the main chunk of a video. I like just being able to focus and get into a rhythm with the Pokemon we're running, especially with the new advert system as well here on YouTube. If we were chopping and changing between them, I think they would try and fit in even more adverts than they're going to try and fit in on this video to begin with. So by keeping it consistent, I'm hoping we'll have some very natural breakpoints. But I'm out of time for this Kanto chat, so let's go back to the live run. And now it is time for Blue. Blue is our final gym leader for Gardevoir, and he leads with Pidgeot. We're going to set up a couple of Calm Minds against the Pidgeot. We'll then use Thunderbolt to make sure we knock it out in one, and now we should have enough special attack to get through the rest of the battle very, very easily. Alakazam will go down in one shot as well. And that brings us on to Rhydon. We'll use Ice Punch against the Rhydon. That's going to go down in a single hit, so he brings out his Gyarados. Thunderbolt's just a trick for the Gyarados, taking out in one single shot. Executor has an Ice Punch with its name on it, and then the last Pokemon is going to be Arcanine. We'll use a Psychic as Extreme Speed hits us for negligible damage, and we get through Blue very, very easily. 110.53 for the Earth Badge. Let's now do one of our last heals for the challenge. In fact, our last heal for the challenge. We'll use our final Max Elixir here. You know what, we'll stick on the leftovers as well, because I don't think we're going to outspeed Pikachu at the moment. We will have a little chat with Professor Oak, and then it will be time to take on Red. But for you, you've got Gallade next. We've seen how Gardevoir got on at Blue, let's now see how Gallade gets on at Blue. The playing field is still very, very open at the moment. There's still everything to play for in this little versus challenge. Even though I said we weren't going to make it a versus challenge, it naturally has become that. We one-shot the Pidgeots, we one-shot Alakazam, and up next is going to be Gyarados. We'll use Hidden Power, guarantee the one-shot against the Gyarados. The next Pokemon is Exeggutor. We'll use Return against the Exeggutor, knock it out in a single hit as well. Arcanine comes out to play and goes away as quickly as it came out. And the last Pokemon is Rhydon. We'll use an Earthquake against that, it goes down in 1. And that is blue done on our first try in 109.16. Let's now head towards Professor Oak, but you are going to be seeing the red challenge with Gardevoir. So it has all come down to this for Gardevoir. This is the important red fight. Let's see how we get on. First thing to notice is that we can one-shot the Pikachu. That brings us on to Espeon next. I reckon we Calm Mind against the Espeon because it can't really do too much against us. So this could be the play, you know, set up 4 Calm Minds maybe? I don't know, and then try a Thunderbolt. Swift is doing a fair amount of damage to us eventually. Snorlax is next. Let's use a Psychic here, see how much damage we can do. The answer is a fair amount, but Body Slam knocks us out. That means we are going to have to take a reset, and we'll use some rare candies. We'll use 3 of them to begin with, and we'll try again. I reckon, you know, we could get away with setting up 1 Calm Mind against this Pikachu. And then we misclick on Thunderbolt there, unfortunately. Thunder has hit us, but because we've got a lot of special defense, that might not matter too much in the end. Let's start using Calm Mind against this Espeon once more. I think if we can just keep setting up, then we could be in a very, very good position. Let's now use a Thunderbolt against Espeon, and hopefully now we will be able to do something against this Snorlax. Will he go for Amnesia? That is the question. He goes for Body Slam and he paralyzes us, for goodness sake. Let's use another 3 rare candies. We've got 2 in the bag for our last little reserves. We still don't outspeed Pikachu, which is slightly annoying. So we use a single Calm Mind here, then we will Psychic. Didn't get paralyzed from the Pikachu, that is a very good start. And then I think we Calm Mind against the Espeon again. This seems to be the Pokemon to set up against. I know that Swift does a little bit of damage each time, but it's not that terrible. Then we can go to Psychic as he uses Reflect. I didn't mean to go for Psychic actually, I meant to go for Thunderbolt, so that was a bit of a misclick. Now, can we one-shot the Snorlax now? The answer is no. But we do survive. Let's see what we can do. Charizard's going to outspeed, Wing Attack knocks us out. Let's use our last 2 rare candies. Let's try again, this time at level 67? 66 rather. Snorlax's foot was covering the level there. We get paralysed by Pikachu. At least we outspeed now. That does give us 1 free turn of Calm Mind. We'll then Psychic the Pikachu and then we'll get back onto the Espeon. I think we're just going to get all the way up to max special attack here against the Espeon. That will give us the best chance of getting through. Let's set up. Let's get all the way up to 999 in special attack. Let's use a Thunderbolt. And let's bloody hope now that this Snorlax is a pesky bloody one-shot with our Psychic. And the answer is yes. Yes, it is. We're going to take some damage here from Wing Attack. Hopefully a bloody crit. We're not getting the luck here, are we? That was the one thing we didn't want to happen. We'll do double Calm Mind against the Pikachu, then we'll Psychic, because that means we're going to take 1 less damage turn from this Espeon. We'll get all the way back up to 999, and we get crit again. This isn't going well, but let's see what we can do. Misclicked there on Psychic, hopefully it's a one-shot, the answer is yes. We're just going to hold the Psychic button now and see what happens. We know that we can one-shot Snorlax, we have to. We've got literally the maximum defense, or attack I should say, that we can get. I think it's now all over for Red. One shot on the Blastoise, we're going to outspeed the Venusaur as well. I think our big issue here has been speed in this challenge. We grow to 67 and we defeat Red in 116 17. And that time of 1 hour 16 minutes and 17 seconds puts Gardevoir in 5th place on our end of the line leaderboard. But of course the story isn't over yet, we've got another red fight still to come, so don't you dare go anywhere because Gallade is next. Gardevoir has got its time, the crown is Gallade's for the taking. Let's see how we get on. The first thing we'll notice is that we don't outspeed the Pikachu. So let's move on to the Charizard. Wing attack knocks us out in 1. I also forgot to heal there in all the commotion of getting to here, so let's do a proper heal now. We're also going to use some rare candies. I think after using 3 rare candies, we should also be able to sack off Earthquake. Earthquake's only really good against the Pikachu, and honestly, I don't think we need it. I think Return's going to one-shot as well. So we're going to get rid of Earthquake and replace it with Shadow Ball. I'm also going to hold on to the Quick Claw, I think. Quick Claw could be the handier item to have. So let's now try Red again. We aren't going to outspeed the Pikachu and we get Charmed. I think that means we've got to use another 3 rare candies here. Now I did dump in a bunch of Carbos to try and get our outspeed a little bit quicker. Let's see, has that paid off? It has. We now outspeed the Pikachu. We are looking for a Quick Claw proc ideal against the Charizard. We know that Hidden Power Rock's going to be 4 times super effective and knock it out in 1. Now, how about Shadow Ball against the Espeon? We won't find out because we get knocked out. Let's try that again now, shall we? We are getting very, very close to actually being able to get a win already, I reckon. If we can outspeed this Charizard just like that, then we can set up a little bit against the Espeon, because it's going to use a Reflect anyway, so we'll take advantage of that by using a couple of Swords Dances. Unfortunately, we got hit twice there by Psychic. That isn't great, and I think Surf is going to knock us out here. Maybe we've got to risk setting up against Pikachu. That could be the plan, you know. Hope for a Thunder Miss. This is a lot tighter than I thought it would be, though. Honestly, I thought that Gardevoir would have it in the bag. He might still have it in the bag. We don't know. The only way we're going to find out is by getting a successful red fight with Gallade. I don't know if we outspeed that Charizard if we keep getting the Quick Claw proc. I've forgotten its number. Reflect isn't good there, goodness me. We get a Quick Claw proc though, that is good. Let's use Return. Rain Dance is fine. Rain Dance is kind of what we want actually. Now this should be a 2-turn move from the Venusaur. Giga Drain crit. That wasn't in the plan. We're on to Snorlax. If we knock it out in 1, we win. And we do. 113-27 for Gallade, and that means that Gallade has won our versus battle. And now there were just under 3 minutes in between Gardevoir and Gallade, and that does mean that Gallade has won our first head-to-head together here on the channel. Let's now take a look at the leaderboard, and you can see that Gallade is comfortably in 3rd place on our leaderboard, and Gardevoir gets pushed down to 6th place. Piloswine and Slowking are keeping our fossils company now here on page 2 as they've been pushed down in this video. But with that, we are done. So I really hope you've enjoyed this one, especially with it being a double feature episode. If you have, make sure to leave a like. If you have any feedback, especially about the format, leave it in the comments down below. Subscribe if you want to see more just like this. And until next time, I'll say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon.